At the turn of the tide, I can see an innate desire. Sword in hand, warriors side by side. I can feel it, it burns like fire. Worlds collide, an unstable landscape, side by side. But that's what this man digs. Be it might and unlikely allegiance, we will fight because that's the best defense. No turning back for such is our path. This day we find a glorious death. Glorious death. Our goal, our mission is clear as we ride against a dark empire. By my soul, may the last thing they hear be the roar of this raging fire. Listen, be the savagery mindset. Not today, we'll let loose and find it. Brutal will define our reaction. Rip out the throat of each one in their fashion. No turning back for such is our path. This day we find the
Cleaning Services has a bundle for all budgets. You can be fully protected with emergency response for just $49.99.
We are live. Hello, guys. This is Braxcast time once again. And this is actually a really exciting week. So, of course, we got Garfield in the chat. We got Zay Comics in the chat as well. Hail to you guys. But this is a pretty exciting week. Not only have we I've gotten Norfrica and Horseman. So those are pretty well into fulfillment. I will be talking about those tomorrow, Braxcast 91. I did a special episode of the Braxcast, how to get into the Rippaverse, and along with my reviews of Horseman and number 2 and Norfrica, those are the 10 videos I needed for the general content creators. So I got that submission in on Rippafest. And speaking of Rippafest, we really ought to get like that poll in the Discord. I haven't seen that, so if any of you guys are watching, it's supposed to be the last week, and the Rippafest ends tomorrow on Saturday. So that poll should be happening like tomorrow. It was supposed to happen like during this last week, so I'm not sure about that. I haven't seen anything about it. But we've got Rippa Works. So this is like the Rippaverse crowdfunding platform. So the first thing that's being funded is animation, which I think is a really cool thing. I've heard about it, of course. I did check out the website. I haven't funded it yet. I'll probably do the $100 one at some point. You got like a little bit into next year. The campaign's running for like 30 something days. And the first goal is 50K and then 100K, which hopefully gets to 100K. But we got Ram in the chat. Nice to see you, Ram. Just saw you pop it in there. Fantastic stuff. But like I said, I did title this Talking Norfrica and Horseman. I did do this, I think it was yesterday when I scheduled it. It was either yesterday or Wednesday night. I can't even remember. But it was before Rippa Works was announced, and then it got like talked about, and then it got very much hard announced. And of course, we have the first thing up. So we'll go into that. We've got the video up here. So we've got this right here. So I'm going to play this, watch this through. I haven't watched this. So we got CJ in the chat as well. Nice to see you guys. So as people are coming in, we're going to go and watch this video and go on the Rippa Works platform. I'm going to give my opinion on it. And then, we can talk a little bit about Horseman and Norfrica. This is the title of the stream, right? But typically, like, the title is just like, a going off point, like just so I have something to name the stream instead of just like numbering them, because I couldn't really number them at this point. I've lost count of how many Braxcast lives I've done. But I always like to have like a specific, try and have a specific topic before I ramble on about what I ramble on. But Rippa Works, I'll be give my take about this 91, and then of course showing off the graded copies. I do have actually, before we get into this video, guys, we'll go back to the solo layout. Cool, boy, look at this. Look at this. Isn't this cool? But this is just a regular record. Actually, what I really like, and I'll show this off better. I really ought to play these at some point, for a video. But it's just not gonna go in the cards. Excuse me, for this week episode. But it might be something I do if you guys want me to do that. Actually playing it for an episode of the Braxcast could be like a special one. But this is a really cool one. So it's got like a plastic cover on it. So I'm not sure if I'm going to play this. But this is legitimately a golden record, and this is a 45. It's not a 33 and a third. Like I was asking Andrew, and he didn't know. But this is a full on, you could fit like a whole LP. Of course, side A, side B. But it's just one song. It's going to be both sides on that, and then it comes in a nice plastic cover. So we'll just put that in there like that, and then of course you've got the front cover, you've got the back cover right here, and then what I really like is look at that. So you could honestly, this just makes me want a whole Norfrica album even more. And I got the cassette tape on the table. I'll show it off tomorrow's episode. I mean, it's pretty bog standard, a pretty bog standard tape. I love side A, side B, full Norfrica, and I'm a little bit too young for cassette tapes to be a consistent thing for me. I remember video cassettes very well. Be kind, please rewind, and using VCR tapes, having like a VCR rewinder, the one that I had or the one that my family had was shaped like a race car. It was shaped like a car, and you put the video cassette in, you push it down, and then it would just rewind the tape for you. And I was doing so, but that's the rewinder. But you could also you could rewind video cassettes in the player, and then you could stop it and then rewind it. It would go a lot faster. Like screen would go blue and then it would go a lot faster. But anyways, it just talking about how I remember video cassettes. But I don't remember audio cassettes. I never really used those. I used CDs a little bit, but I was an iPod baby. So when the iPod came onto the scene, because the first iPod came out when I was like 3. So like I remember like the iPod Nano, I had an iPod Touch, which is called the iTouch. And that's how you would play music. Like I carried that around all the time in middle school. It's just have my iPod Touch, play my music with me. And that's really what the default came to. It's not like back in like the 80s when everybody had a Walkman. That would have been cool. I honestly wish I was like, I feel like I'm 10 years old because I got my Spotify rap and I was like, your listening age is 73. I'm like, because I listen to music from the 60s, like Mamas and Papas and stuff like that. But anyway, that's aside the point. I wanted to show off that those album covers there, because that is by far like the coolest stuff for the Norfrica campaign, or Norfrica collection, excuse me, was the were those vinyls. So I definitely need to get a record player, because I got the Red album as well, and I just want to be able to have a record player, play some records, which would be cool. That's the thing that like a lot of younger people have gotten into, like playing records and retro stuff and all that. Joker, did you get the book we sent yet? We just finished with fulfillment. Are you talking about Man with No Strings? I actually Man with No Strings. So I did get it. Came in good condition to me. There's also another one you guys sent me, Silhouette, I believe. I think I've read that as part of the Lost Pages. So it is on the review list. I need to review it. I'm so behind. But hopefully all the ones I've been pushing from like month to month to month, I'll get to it this month before the end of the year, God willing. So Heroic Tales is also on the list, number 2. If John is watching this, I got it. I'm going to get to it at some point. But yes, I did get Man with No Strings. I just haven't gotten around to reading it yet, which shame on me. But yeah, good to know it got there safe. Yeah, most of my packages, get here safe. I mean, now it's a bit like treacherous, man. With all the snow and everything. I mean, I'm in the southern portion of the state, so it's a little bit better. But it is freezing, man. It was like it hasn't been above freezing all day. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, John is in the chat. Yeah, I got Heroic Tales number 2. I got to read and review that one, but I will get around to it eventually. So expect a review, Zay Comics, John, from me. Like I've done both of your books in the past. I'm sure I'm going to enjoy them. I'd say, part of it is just me being lazy, because I just haven't gotten around to it. And, I work full time. I do other things. So, I let things fall through the cracks, and, my, comic book reviewing habit has been that thing. But I did get the Norfrica review and the Horseman number 2 reviews done. I wanted to get those done before the Ripperfest cutoff period. And also, I like to keep up with those reviews as well, because, I'm a Ripperverse guy. But anyways, speaking of the Ripperverse, let's talk about how Ripper works. So we're going to get into this reaction. I'm going to go into like watching this video, giving my take on it, and then we'll go through the Ripper Works campaign, and then we can talk a little bit of Horseman too, maybe some Norfrica. Let's see. We understand, Joker. You going on those Tinder? Are you talking about Tinder dates? No, I'm not going on Tinder dates. I haven't used Tinder. Like, I've never gotten a dating from a Tinder date. I mean, I might be like having someone play matchmaker with me. That's a weird situation. I'm not sure how that's going to work out for me. So I might be going on a date at some point in the future, but I would just tell her to run for the hills. But apparently I'm not allowed to say that. But anyways, that's I guess that's good talking too much about my personal life. But anyways, I don't use dating apps. I do plenty of other plenty of other things that are completely nonsensical with the internet. But no, dating apps are not something that ever really worked for me. And I just don't advise people use them. So no, it's not the Tinder dates that is keeping me busy. It's other stuff. And like I said, look at this mug, guys. I mean, I did get myself cleaned up, so I think more women would find this attractive than like when I grow out the beard. I look like disheveled and homeless, but oh yeah. Thanks, Student of God. I certainly need people wishing me good luck in terms of like if I'm going to life. It's an absolute disaster. But that is the case for most guys in my age bracket. Like anybody below like 35, most people are just it's not good out there, man. It's not good. That's the understanding that I have. But anyways, I'm not sure how that's going to work out for me, but it's going to be interesting. And it's been interesting. This year's been very, very interesting in terms of that. But I want to get into it. I want to get into this video because this isn't me rant about my dating escapades or lack thereof. This is Braxcast Live. So let's get into this video without further ado.
Hello to you all. I'm Eric July, the founder and owner of the Rippaverse. You've seen what our team can do. From ISOM to Alpha Core, Yaira, the Horseman, and Norfrica, the Rippaverse has already come alive through animation. But now it's time to take it to the next step. This is the first ever Rippaworks project, the Rippaverse Studios Animation Fund. Help us create more animation, refining everything in hopes of eventually launching a full-fledged animated universe. This campaign has two clear goals. Goal number one, fund 10 original short clips based on ISOM, Yaira, and Alpha Core or Bloodruth. Goal two, produce a fully animated high-action trailer based on Rippazine issue number 6 and its upcoming series by Kanan White and myself. Now, the purpose of this project is really simple. We want to nail down our animation style. We want to solidify our team, and we want to set the standard for Rippaverse Studios moving forward. We feel like we already have a great style, but we know that we can take it to the next level, and we've built a plan to make that happen. Now, this isn't a pre-order. It's our first ever crowdsourced project. It's your chance to directly shape what comes next. Through Rippaworks, you decide which projects move forward. There are several tiers to choose from simple supporter levels to exclusive collectibles to the opportunity to literally be canonized within the animated Rippaverse. And as always, everything is backed by our same commitment to independence, transparency, consistency, and quality. We don't have any outside investors. We don't have those corporate strings attached. We just have the fans and the drive to just keep building. So whether you're contributing $5 or $5,000, you're helping us take things to the next level. And though we have two primary goals, our stretch goals show that we'll take this as far as you want to go. Because every dollar goes straight into animation. This is your chance to help greenlight and fully launch the entire Rippaverse animated universe. We love to have your support, and any contribution is appreciated. Head over to the campaign page for more information and details.
Okay, so that is that video right there. So pretty basic overview. Now, of course, we've got the animation funder open right now. You did mention some stretch goals. So the two goals, let's see. I haven't seen this yet. So Student of God has not seen this yet. Garfield's Bizarre Adventure, excuse me, saying the Horseman animators did a great job. I agree. That combat scene in the warehouse looks like a top tier production. And that is like a really, really, like, I watched that trailer so many freaking times, man, because it's just so freaking good. Like, it's just, oh man, I agree. Like, I watched that so many times. I would love a Horseman show, especially Dean Cain voicing it, and especially after reading Horseman #2. That was a really intense like issue. That like really like Chuck just dialed it up to 10, because Horseman #1 was like really just establishing the character. And then Chuck was like, I laid the foundation. We're just going balls to the wall. I absolutely love it, which means number 3 is going to be, excuse the pun, high caliber. But we got Macabre Derricks and Hey Joker. So hey to you as well. Hopefully you do well with the Rippa Fest. But anyways, we're talking about Rippa Works. And this first is an animation funder, which again, people have been clamoring for animation. I certainly have. We're already at, $5,100, which is pretty good for the first couple of hours this is launched. And this is launching like, Friday evening. So it's a bit of an odd time. Of course, people get paid on Friday, but it's not like letting people on Monday know, hey, this is getting launched on Friday. So people can kind of, plan and budget it out throughout the week. When it's stuff like drops like this, kind of gets lost in the wayside, but this is running for 35 days. But the big thing is, of course, 10 short animated clips if you get 50,000 based on Isom, Yaira, and Bloodroof. Man, I would have loved like Horseman to be included in that. I would have loved Alpha Core. I think this is a pretty good swath of characters to choose. And then 100,000 be a fully animated high action trailer based on Ripazine 6 and its soon to be announced series, which I'm not sure it's going to be Saoirse, and it's not going to be Saoirse, but he said Kim, Eric July, and Kane are going to be working on it. So it's not going to be sure because they're already doing Saoirse. Is Kanan doing something else? That's exciting, man. If Kanan's going to be doing 2 series, if he's going to be doing an ongoing and a limited, I think he can manage that. But 2 ongoing, Kanan's a great artist and he pumps it out, man. But it might be a bit too much for him to have 2 ongoings and the chief art editor duties as well. So I'm not exactly sure. But that's exciting, and I'm really hyped for Ripazine 6. Of course, I'm hyped for Ripazine number 5. Andrew's in the chat. I am excited for that one. I was going to make another wine mom joke, but I don't need to make any more wine mom jokes. But anyways, let's see. So 50K. So 50K for the 10 short animated clips. 100K for a fully animated high action trailer based on Ripazine 6 and the series that will be announced alongside Ripazine 6. And this is happening regardless, right? Because the comics are happening regardless. Let's see, episode 2, but let's focus on what's important. I won't be getting Norfrica for a few months. Don't mind the spoilers if you're talking them. Just wanted to support where I could. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why I don't want to talk really spoilers with Norfrica or Horseman, since people are still getting it. But with the first issue of Norfrica, I saw like nothing happens in the first issue of Norfrica, but it is very much an origin story. So it's starting at the very beginning of the story of Norfrica, and it's focusing on Valadan. So he's the Norse mythology character, basically. So you've got the African mythology in Dakar, you've got the Norse mythology and Valadan, and it's good. I like it. Wrapping your head around it, if you experience, like I play tons of God of War, so I've got some familiarity with Norse mythology on that basis. And honestly, with Norse mythology, or basically like any of the pagan mythologies, and we'll go and we'll do like that there, or yes, this like there. Any of the pagan mythologies, we're talking about Norse or Greek. Really what we know comes from Christian interpolation. It's just what the Christians bothered to preserve about these rituals, about their gods, and so much of the pagan like mysticism and the actual like religious practices were oral and communal. So when they converted to Christ, which is swaths of these pagans, basically most of them, abandoned their idols and followed the true living God, right? They really, all those actual traditions died with them, and there was some stuff that was preserved by Christian monks, or Christendom in general. But mostly, like I said, most of it comes through Christian interpolation. So it's not actually what they believed. It's just like this, and it's just some version of what they believed. And then, of course, it gets very heavily modernized and westernized. In modernity, whether you're talking about like Thor and Marvel or God of War, like I was just talking about, I'd say even something like Rippaverse doing this with Norse mythology. It's cool, it's interesting, but it's not like what they were actually believe. It's not like what the Vikings and those Scandinavian people and Germanic people are actually believing in doing back then. There are some similarities for sure, but it's like vastly different than the way we conceptualize of like Thor or Odin or Freya or Apollo or Zeus or Jupiter or Aphrodite or stuff like that. Um, but anyways, regardless of this to say, let's get into the the stretch goals. So the stretch goals are interesting. So these are the ones that were talked about. I hadn't seen these, so we're going into these right now. And we'll go full screen here, and we'll zoom in a little bit. So we can see we've got 150K unlocks an additional fully animated trailer, bringing the total to 2 major animation pieces. 300,000 is going to be a production of a 5 to 6 pilot episode of the Horseman, expanding Rippaverse Studios animation portfolio. So we would get that Horseman pilot. $250,000 is going to be the all Vanguard tier, and higher backers receive an exclusive Ripperworks founder hat commemorating their support. That's cool, but that's not like the coolest thing. Of course, we did 300,000. Then it goes to 500K, which is the production of a 5 to 6 pilot episode of Isom, the flagship character of the Rippaverse universe. That would be a really cool thing to see. And then, of course, $1,000 full launch of the Rippaverse animated universe, a commitment to producing at least 3 additional animated shorts to establish a connected animated continuity. That's what we want to get to, guys. I want me to zoom in a bit more so we can go to 140 right there. Got the what's X? Oh, okay, so the 5% off is kind of bugging me here. But this is what we're seeing. This is what we're working with, guys. And this is really cool. So 50K is that first, like, it'll actually happen at 50K. There's something that happens more at 100K, and then you got these stretch goals. Is the community going to get us to 1 million? I'm not sure. I'm not like saying, oh, it could never happen, but I'm not sure. I mean, this is happening during the holiday season. And people typically will spend their money on that, buying gifts for the family, traveling, all that stuff, rather than doing crowdfunding stuff like this. Of course, you'll probably see a bit of a peak around Christmas time. People get money for Christmas. You can go to the mall or basically anywhere and get like those prepaid Visa or MasterCard. I think Visa does it. I'm sure MasterCard does it as well. Oh. Excuse my voice is constantly cracking. Am I like 14? Because you hear my voice crack. But anyways, maybe I'm just straining my voice in a weird way. But anyways, people get those for Christmas, and they'll activate those as well. Today Comics is going, hopefully you guys do well. Keep on doing well. And like I said, we'll get the man with no strings. I know you guys like live stream like around this time. I used to do it a bit earlier, and I would used to be able to get like my 2 or like my hour and a half show in before, but my work schedule was shifted now. Like it's a bit later than when I was back in New York, when I had like everything on point. Man, I had such a good schedule up there, but I wouldn't say I was miserable. I just needed to make a change, and I'm glad that I did, even though it comes with some concessions. But that's everything in life. So we got the Merc Lounge saying hail, so hail to you as well. Hopefully you are doing well. We are covering Rippaverse. So Rippaverse is doing crowdfunding now, which is really interesting. And this isn't like crowdfunding like the comics, their bread and butter. This is just funding, and we'll zoom off of this. So the 1,000 backer milestone unlocks a making of documentary chronicling the campaign, production, and creative process, which is cool. That'll most likely happen. So we've got, let's see, we'll refresh here and see where we are at 37 supporters. So I haven't backed this yet. I probably will, and I'll probably go for this $100 tier. So you got basically these basically $5 and $10 very basic. You get the patron, the 25, those exclusive live streams, which is cool. Insider is that, but Vanguard is where it gets interesting, where you get the exclusive Dokemon card plus animation comic. So this is the one that I am certainly going to get. So yeah, this is funding the extra stuff. So basically, if they want to do like animations or video games or like more complex merchandise, like let's say they wanted to do like I don't know. I mean, you could probably theoretically even do like very limited runs of something like an Ingrid Valdez statue or something like that. Things that wouldn't make sense to do like full production runs of, let's say for statues or certain toys or anything like that. Um, but I'm thinking video games, animation. We did get, I think it was on if I can see my mine, what am I even doing right here? So Eric July he gave some options. Let's see here. I'm gonna go and search through these really freaking quickly. But hopefully we can get some more stuff. But he's got so many freaking tweets here. Let's see. Do. Okay, here we go. Here we go. This is what I was looking for, and I finally found it. Let's see. So it looks like there's going to be a Rippaverse stream about the animation in 30 minutes. Should it be interesting? So yeah, I think what I'm going to do is probably cut this one a little bit short then. So that way you guys can go and watch that stream and not feel obligated to watch me. I know I didn't do a live stream last week because I was visiting the family this time last week, and I was away from my computer in my nice little apartment. But I think that would be for the best. Plus, I got say stuff to do. Kind of want to do stuff. But anyways, biggest thing was animation. So they want to do animation. Video games was the second. Like tabletop games. People have been asking for tabletop games, but tabletop is such a niche to go and spend all the time like designing one and then bringing it to market and then distributing it. Even if you're doing D2C, which is direct to consumer, it doesn't make sense financially. But doing it as a crowd-funded thing where you're giving it to, let's say, you need 200 people, each paying, let's say, 75 to $100 for the tabletop game to make it profitable. That would make sense, and allows those, however, a few hundred people to get the tabletop game and play it with their friends or something along those lines. So that's, I think, something that really ought to be explored. Tabletop and collectible card games for the Rippaverse would be probably something that would be really, really interesting. But yeah, Merc Lounge is saying, hope you had a Thanksgiving. To me and to the chat. Yeah, I hope all y'all had a good Thanksgiving. I certainly did. It was fun for me. It was like it was like a bit, it was like 5 hours, from where I was to where I am now. And I did the 5 hour drive on Saturday. So I got there like Thursday morning. I stayed all day Friday. I left Saturday morning. So it was a very short, but I wanted a day to myself back home. And I wanted a day for myself, and I wanted to beat the traffic, which was nice because I was on the I-90 in Mass, and there was a lot of traffic. So I'm glad I left when I did. But I did the 5 hour drive in like one shot, man. Like I was just like, there was some point like I had an hour left. Like maybe I should pull off and get gas, but I was like, I'll just power through. And I was able to do it all at a take of gas because car is pretty fuel efficient. But anyways, it was good. I liked seeing the family. It was nice to be what is now my old stomping ground. It felt, I don't say weird, but it's a good weird. Let's see. So so for 100 you get early access and the card, and for 250 you get the previous stuff plus this CGC. Yeah, so you'll get a CGC copy as well. So we can go into that. And that's not necessarily again, I mean, I would love to have like the CGC. But of course, you get the exclusive badge and a CGC poster. If you do 500, you get the randomized sketch print from Rippaverse items at 1,000K, and then 5,000 you're going to get immortalized. So you can get canonized. Yes, I could get canonized in Rippaverse. I have the money, but I am not putting down the cash, even though it would be fun to do that. It would be extremely ill-advised of me to spend that kind of cash on that. It would be fun though. But I just cannot drop that. I cannot justify dropping like that much liquidity. Maybe, if this was like 10 years like in my career like path and if it goes well, then I could afford to do stuff like that. But not right now. Not right now when I'm basically like I would say I'm not broke. I'm not saying I won't say I am broke, but I'm not a rich man. Let's see. Do it, Joker. You can be the Roman Empire historian in the that would be fun. That is tempting, but that's not. It's not the responsible thing to do. And I gotta think like long term with the way I do it. So let's see. I made a short going over it, just uploaded not too long ago. That is a cool one. So yeah, man, I probably ought to watch some your videos because I know you make Rippaverse videos, but I'm like in the Rippaverse milieu. I cover it so much that I don't necessarily need to like watching like the videos, but it's stuff I ought to watch at least a little bit of. But anyways, this basically is the covering of the campaign. So you got these pretty basic, I would say, support tiers. The rewards really, I think Vanguard is probably the best one. That's one I'm going to go for is at $100 because I get that Dokubon card along with the comic book. I do think the $50 should entitle you to getting the comic book. Me personally, I think for $50, they should be able to get the comic out to you. But $100, you get the card and the comic. That's pretty cool. So I think $100 card and comic, $50 you get the comic. And I think that would be the one thing I would have. That's my one criticism of this campaign, this crowdfund campaign. So that really is what I gotta say. So I do like this. So Ripple works. So companies that do funding or that just sell products, I ought to say, they do stuff like this. Like Hasbro has something like this, where they've crowdfunded stuff before. Other companies do this all the time. I think I've seen companies even use like Kickstarter and stuff like that. Of course, Keanu Reeves did Berserker with was it Boom Studios or whatever. So you can have like big names that have money that do crowdfunding because it just makes more sense, especially if you're someone like Hasbro, and you have the ability to do these manufacturing runs. If you do crowdfunding, it lets you very easily source like how much of a run you need to do. So if you can get like let's say 500 people to back something, and then it's like, oh, we only need to make 550 of them, 500 to ship out to people, and then we'll just have 50 on stock in case people they get damaged in transit or whatever happens when you're distributing product out to people. That is I think that's a great way to go about things. But this is more or less for animation. It's less about like getting like tearing out how to get the product out to people, more like let's say if people want it, they need to actually fund it to make it happen, right? Because there's enough goodwill, there's enough content with the Rippaverse to justify people having, I don't know, I guess buy-in is a term, quote unquote, that people like to use. But having like that ability to just invest. I haven't donated yet, but I definitely will. Yeah. No, I haven't done so either, but I will. So there is plenty of time to do so. So like not like I said, but we got 35 days. So it will end around this time in January. It'll end around the second week of January if I'm getting my math correct, and I believe I am. So you got 38 people backing. So people are probably going to be like, I can wait on this. I can wait till next week's paycheck to get this back. And that's kind of the mindset that I'm in, where I'll parse out like if I want to drop the 100 bones on this, I probably will. I got some room in the budget to do this, or room in the savings, I ought to say, and I'll probably have some room in the budget. I was able to get a full week of work in, even though we had a snow day. It snowed, man. It snowed hard. We got like 8 inches to like a foot of snow. So it cut off snow early. Was it Tuesday? Yeah, it was Tuesday. That it snowed, and it snowed pretty hard. So I left work early on Tuesday, and I had to spend basically the rest of the week making it up. Which wasn't too bad, but it wasn't like fun either. To lose some time leaving early on Wednesday because of the holidays. So, but I did get the full 40 hours in this week. Probably will, God willing, for the rest of the week, which means I'll have a little bit of room in the budget, most likely. And that means I'll probably be able to afford this decently comfortably. The $100, put that in to the pot. Hopefully we get at least that 50K because I want that comic and I want that Doku Man card really badly. And then that'll be the interesting thing. And then of course, getting that like $1 million and the full on like Rippaverse animated the RCU, the Rippaverse cinematic universe, or RAU Rippaverse animated universe would be the more apt term to use. Really, really want that. So hopefully that happens. I'm not sure if it will. Certainly is a possibility of it happening. There's already, $5,600 made just in the first day. So if you're taking, let's say 35, let's see, we take $1 million, divide that by 35, it'd have to make like $28,000 a day, which I'm not sure if it can do that. Because people might be like, oh, animation is cool, but I want to have it like now. I don't necessarily want to crowdfund it. I want them to just do it. And some people are going to be in that mindset. But if you can get to at least at like 50, to let's say this makes 50 between 55 or it makes 100 or something like that, it just is such a substantial step to them being able to do a Rippaverse animated universe. And that's really, hopefully with Rippaworks, the more that they do like, Rippaverse animation too, and we'll do more stuff. And then you can do Rippaverse video games. And then these bigger ventures mean bigger profits, right? And then you can use that money to actually make more games, more animation, so on and so forth, and it becomes self-sustaining, which I think that's the plan there. But anyways, guys, I know I was going to talk Horseman and Norfrica. I did show off Norfrica records a little bit, but Rippaworks kind of happened. And I know like they're going to be launching soon. So this is a bit of a shorter episode of Braxcast Live, but I do think I want to end it here. I think I want to check if there is, let's see, go Rippaverse. Yeah, so there is a Rippaverse live stream happening in just about 15 minutes. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to end it here. So that way you guys got the time. Let's see, show the vinyl again if you want to. I preferred Horseman 2, but greatly enjoyed both. Yeah, Horseman 2 was really good. I'd say Horseman 2 was better than Norfrica. Not that Norfrica is bad, but Horseman number 2 was just like Hector's story is really developing. And Horseman 2 is like just the peak of that. And I've got like, I care more about Horseman than I do about Norfrica. It'll take some time with Norfrica for me to like really get invested in them. But I'm assuming you want me to show off this vinyl again. So I'm going to show off the vinyls on Braxcast, like the recorded one on that. So 91 Saturday, I'll probably get it out in the morning. I got to take the car to the dealer to get it maintenance because that's the responsible thing to do. I did a long drive. In terms of mileage, it's like less than 1,000 for it to be due for maintenance. So I want to get Braxcast out early. Hopefully I get up early. But that is the vinyl for Norfrica. And this is like, again, this is freaking epic, man. It's actually a golden record. You can see that golden record, which is really cool. And this is like I said, this is a full on. I believe it's a 45. It's not a 33 and a third. It's a 45 RPM, so full on LP size. Which again, like holding this in my hands, it just makes me want a Norfrica LP. So about like an actual Norfrica album that you can listen to. Because Glorious Death is good, but you want like a full like 10 or 12 songs you can just jam out to. We just don't have that yet. So like Dan and Eric, you guys got to get on it. I don't know. So I think that's something that really ought to happen. And I think we might have hit the stretch goal to get an EP out of them. But regardless, even if you get an extended play rather than a full on long play, like a full on 45 minutes to an hour, if you get like 20 minutes to 30 minutes of music, from them. I think that's going to be a fantastic thing. But anyways, this is, like I said, the art, and we can show it off. Ooh, ooh. Again, it's just holding this. It just, again, every time I hold this, I'm like, I just want it so badly. Like a full on Norfrica album, of course, or Norfrica show that integrates like the music. That would be peak. Nice. Did the box come wrapped in plastic? Yeah. It was shrink wrapped. Both of them were shrink wrapped. Of course, I opened them both so I can show off the records. But they come in shrink wrap. So like it's like any sort of LP. You go Newberry Comics sells them. But back in the day, they had like record stores. Like they would have like Tower Records or your local record shop, and they were selling records. And then initially they sold CDs. I remember my mom saying that she couldn't buy River of Dreams on vinyl, and that kind of scandalized her. And this is back in like 93 or so. It's like, a bit before I was born, because I was born in 98. So CDs were like the thing when I was born and when I was like really young, is, compact discs. And of course, before then were the records. But anyways, those, CDs come in jewel cases. Those are often shrink wrapped in plastic. And it's the same thing with the vinyls. So it comes shrink wrapped in plastic, and you can put this on like anything with, you would find at a record shop like Newberry Comics. They like to sell records. I think like FYI, there was one at the mall back when I lived in New York. They would have records as well. So all those come shrink wrapped in plastic to protect the art. So those Norfrica ones did as well. So it's like any sort of record you would buy. But like I said, I of course undid the shrink wrap so I could actually look at the records. And the golden one has like a plastic covering on it. I'm not sure if that, like, I don't think I could play it like that. I'd have to take it off. I'm not sure how to do that. It might be something I have to like search up for how to do. But that is, but the other one, the just regular old black one with the general cover, I can show this off right here. Is Norfrica Glorious Death. This is just it's just a regular old. It doesn't have that, so it's just your regular cover there, and of course you can see the reflection of my computer screen. So yeah, it's just a regular piece of vinyl. That's like, being in plastic. It's like being in gold, like Ringo says. And again, so you've got basically, I got some books here on this, but this is the Red album. So you see, this is like all the old Beatles music, and it's it's the same size. So you see, basically, it's like any other vinyl you would get. Of course, like this one, since it contains like albums worth of music, it has like multiple. It's got like 3 records in it. But yeah, it is legitimately, it is legitimately. I agree with you, Macabre Derek. They're nice pieces. Like, this is high quality stuff. They got it produced right. So, and again, it just makes me want a Norfrica album so badly, because like that's what you think of when you hold like a record that size. Is you want that. If it was like the cassette tape, I was like, oh yeah, you can put that amount. Like, you got side A, side B. You can put a whole album on the side A, side B of a cassette tape. But like the cassette tape, like it could just be a single, and you're just thinking like, it's nothing that. It's not like, it doesn't make you feel that way where like it being a whole, like when you hold the record. But anyways, I'm going to let you guys go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode of Braxcast Live, even though it was a bit shorter. I'm sure next week we won't have a animation crowdfunder announced, and I won't be stepping on their toes if I go, a bit of like around an hour and a half is like what I usually like to do. And hopefully I have stuff to talk about. But I am ending it here. You guys have a fantastic weekend. Stay warm out there if you're in a place where it's getting wintry like I am. But a Joker is out.